Welcome back, everyone, to the Capital Report with me, Brian Sanders, and Vladi. We're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to touch a little bit on sports. One of the major news topics right now going on is in the NBA with James Harden. It's kind of unprecedented the way he's kind of going about things, at least for the NBA. You don't typically see players sitting out, and then not to mention everything that's going on with this COVID thing. Uh, let's get to it. What are your thoughts, Vladi, on this whole situation in Houston right now?
I think it's interesting that this dude decides not to show up to training camp and says he's taking the COVID thing or whatever. Yet he goes to little baby's birthday party,
Right.
and on Instagram he's flaunting, got him a Richard meal that's worth like 200 some thousand, gave him 100,000, floss on Instagram, which is cool. I mean, he got money, but it's like you're gonna skip out on training camp and do that. And the thing that bothers me about it is he signed off on everything. This Houston Rockets organization has done everything for this dude. I mean, they gave away all of their future by trading all their draft picks away. They gave everything away. They're like basically anything he wanted, he got. They had Chris Paul there for a minute. Got rid of get rid of Chris Paul for Westbrook. They gave up four first round two first round picks, two swaps for Westbrook to get rid of Chris Paul. They bring in Howard. They get rid of Howard.
Right.
Then he chases Westbrook out of town. Then they're going to go after Van Gundy, according to reports on the coaching side. He says, no, I want Tyronn Lue. When they can't get Tyronn Lue, he signs up on Stylus. They bring in Stylus. So how are you going to tell them, no, I want this coach. No, I want Wall. He calls in John Wall. They're doing everything that they can for him. He's like, never mind. I still don't want to be here. Bro, they just gave away all their future. They gave all their draft picks away to satisfy you. They picked the coach that you signed off on. And then you're going to be like, actually, I want to be traded.
Well, here's the problem with the coach. From what I'm hearing, him and Russell Westbrook, their pick was Tyronn Lue.
Tyronn Lue.
So Tyronn Lue decided to stay with the Clippers job, which I was kind of surprised about, but I understand. That's when James Harden got upset because apparently it wasn't his choice on bringing in Silas. Him and Russell Westbrook kind of gave the blessing, but wasn't talked to. And then when Jim Morey left, because Morey went to the Sixers, the GM.
Yeah,
they did not come to James Harden. Ownership did not come to James Harden and ask him who do you think you want to see as your new GM.
Jesus Christ.
Typically in sports, man, of all professional sports, really, when, rather they go to that guy asking him what decision he'd like to see made, or whether they go to a guy just asking what are his thoughts. Those key guys, those top franchise players usually have an input, and James Harden felt slighted.
Wait, but he did have an input though. Tyronn Lue didn't want the job. What are you going to kidnap him and throw him in the back of your trunk and bring him to Houston? He didn't want the job. He did not want to go to Houston. He wanted to stay in LA because that's where he's from. He has a home there. He has a life there. He's like, if I have a chance to go work at a Clippers team who has a bigger chance to win a title, they're the more talented team on top of it. You still have
right. I get it. Right.
And you have Ibaka now. So okay, you can't get that. But let's look at everything else they've done for you. You had a great player in Chris Paul. You guys were 3 for 12 from the 3-point line in that game 7, where you guys could have beat Golden State Warriors and probably won a title that year. But you guys decided to play horrible and miss every shot that you took.
They were horrible that game 7. Horrible.
They gave away everything for this dude. They go and pay Chris Paul. Then he doesn't want Chris Paul. They not only give away Chris Paul for Westbrook, they also give away 4 draft picks because Harden wanted that. They bring him in. They've done everything for this dude. At this point, it's like, they didn't ask him. They have came to him about every decision they've made. It looks like the one they couldn't get him Tyronn Lue. They got him. But he gave the blessing on this new head coach in Silas. So I don't know what else they could do as an organization for this guy.
What do you think about the fact that from the coaching, from the coach to the GM to the owner, the guys that brought James Harden in and the guys that I guess you could say risked their future of their organization on James Harden, all 3 of those guys are gone. The coach is gone. He's in New Jersey or Brooklyn. The GM is now in Philly. And then the owner left a couple of years ago. They have the new Houston owner for TD or how do you say his name.
Yeah.
My point here is this is a whole new crew. This is a whole new This is everything new to James Harden. This isn't the same guys that he built what is now.
Yeah, but my thing is, just last year when they traded for Westbrook, they gave away 4 first-round picks because they wanted to satisfy Harden. Harden didn't want to play with Chris Paul anymore. You know what I mean? And I mean, you got to give Harden props. Since he's been to Houston, they made the playoffs every year. I mean, it's been 8 years. They've been in the playoffs. They've had their runs. But if you do want to leave, I get it. If you want to leave and you want to move on, well, just play out your contract and move on. He needs to play. But then even if you do want to trade, ask for it privately. But you're hurting the organization. The organization doesn't have the leverage when everybody knows that you want it out. You can go behind closed doors and be like, listen, guys, look, I'm thankful for everything, but can you guys please move me? I'd rather be moved. Don't make it public. Don't leak it to the press. Because now these other teams are like, why would I give up everything when I know they have to trade him?
Right.
These other teams don't have the leverage. So you're hurting your organization in a standpoint like, I don't think Brooklyn's going to give up the house for him. They're just sitting back their way. And to be honest, I don't even think he'd fit in Brooklyn. I don't see him and Kyrie are working. They both need the ball in their hands.
No, I don't see that working at all. Chemistry-wise, it just
at all.
And honestly, they'd have to give up way too much. Brooklyn would have to give up way too much.
They'd be worse. Yeah, they'd have to give up LeVert. They'd have to give up what's his name with starts to D. I can't think of the top of my head. Yeah, Dwindled, and then they have to give up draft picks. I'm like, I think this team is better without Harden because you have these other guys coming off the bench now to score buckets as well. If you're going to give up your all your depth to bring in this dude, now you have a big three. But I mean, Kevin Durant can play off ball. We see that in Golden State. Kevin Durant can fit on any team in the world and be great as long as he's healthy. I mean, he fits anywhere. But I do not see Harden. Harden's primarily a point guard pretty much. He has the ball in his hand all the time. He likes to bring it up. He's a great facilitator. I don't see how that gels with Kyrie Irving because Kyrie Irving is to a smaller degree a James Harden in a sense where he dribbles the ball. He does this. He likes to shoot.
ISO guy.
He likes to play well. ISO guy. I don't see how that would work. I would see a trade. Let's say if they traded Kyrie for Harden in a sense, like if they traded Kyrie, let's say and another player for Harden. And a draft pick or so. Maybe that would work. But then now what do you do if you're Houston if you have John Wall and Kyrie? What the hell? That doesn't even make any sense either now. So, it's and then the other trade that they're talking about is going to Philly. I don't understand what the world. Maybe I'm the only guy on the planet that just doesn't think Ben Simmons is that good of a basketball player.
Everyone preaches on him based off of his potential, what he can do. He's a great.
But we've been preaching about it for 3 years.
Yeah, he can't shoot. I mean, solid defender.
He might be top 5 worst shooters I've ever seen in my life as a starting guard.
Yeah.
I mean, because he doesn't even not that he misses, he doesn't
even attempt mid shot jump shot.
And people are like, oh, that should be a straight up Ben Simmons for Harden straight up trade. I'm like, look at last year, James Harden averaged more rebounds, more assists, and double the points. This would average 16, he averaged 32 or whatever. So it's like, what is everybody looking at Ben Simmons and seeing this?
His upside.
Now, I do believe that James Harden and Embiid would be a hell of a match. That'd be perfect.
But here's the problem right now. Going back to what you said earlier, James Harden never gets along with superstar teammates.
Ever.
And
but you know what?
Another problem child is Harden likes to control the ball. He likes to control the tempo. Embiid's an old school type of player. You dump it into him, you get the ball down low, you let him do his thing.
Kick it out.
Harden also doesn't like to play off the ball. So, I mean, I know Morey loves.
I agree with you. So, to me, it's like, what does Harden think? Like, Harden's been given this tailor-made offense in Houston to, like, basically, they gave the keys to the car. Do whatever the hell you want to do. You want to dribble for 20? You dribble for 21 seconds of the shot clock and then do a step back contested 3. Do it. You're not going to be able to do that anywhere else and win a championship. No. You're not going to be able to. Obviously, can't win it here.
Yeah.
So it's like. And I actually think Houston got a lot better. I love Christian Wood. I absolutely love him. The kid they brought in from Detroit.
Yes.
I don't know if John Wall is healthy. We'll see. I have to see but if DeMarcus Cousins, John Wall can be 70% of what they were.
That's at least a
playoff
playoff
team. Got better.
It's at least a playoff team, even without.
Oh, for sure, it's a playoff team.
Yeah.
And even if you don't win a title, you're going to be averaging 30+ points a game. You're not going to be doing that in Brooklyn. And I just don't know if James Harden's the type of guy that can sacrifice. We haven't seen him sacrifice before. He was getting pissed at Chris Paul, getting pissed at Dwight Howard, getting pissed at Westbrook, he gets mad at anybody that has the ball for more than 4 seconds in their hand. So it's like, this is a perfect system for you. You're in control. All these other guys are just assets, and you do your thing. And hey, if you go off, and you might have a chance at making a run. I mean, they literally they were up 3-2 against Golden State Warriors.
Piggybacking off of what you said, and I really don't have I really don't have a point with him wanting out of there because they're not about to win. They haven't built them to compete with the Lakers or even Dallas or.
Okay, where can you win?
Huh?
Where can you win?
Well, he would need to leave and go somewhere. He needs to leave and go somewhere, But at the same time, even if I'm Harden, I'm not wanting to go somewhere where they just gutted the team to get me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not wanting to go.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Where half the team is gone, draft picks are gone, future draft top picks are gone, maybe another top player's gone. He's right back in the situation he's in Houston.
Same exactly.
If I'm the Rockets, I have the ball in my court. I actually heard a Rockets fan say this today, actually. Listened to a podcast down there. And he was like, if I'm Houston, I'm like, James Harden, go home. We're not playing you, even until the duration of the contract. We're going to wait and see what teams are going to offer us the best offer. Because really, Houston hadn't gotten a good offer yet. They really haven't. I will wait.
Well, yeah.
Halfway through the season, it won't even be that long. You'll have teams begging Houston for their services the first 2-3 months of the season, bro.
And
just wait right now. I'm done with James Harden. Go home. We'll let you know when you've been traded.
Oh, 100%. And also why that's important is that now at least you get to see what John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins are. So at least you get to play into the season and at least see what your team looks like before you make that decision. You don't want to make the decision now and then the season starts and John Wall's not who he was because now you got to figure out how to move him. So maybe you wait and then maybe you trade John. Maybe you have to get rid of John Wall. Maybe you trade both of them as a package to somebody or whatever, right? You do a multiple team deal some way if you need to just get rid of that John Wall contract. Because that may be a case. What if he comes out and he's just horrible? So I would definitely play into the season. There's no way in hell I am trading him before because they have a brand new team pretty much.
But I'm saying even if he doesn't want to play, I'm saying even as of right now, if I'm Rockets organization, the front office,
I'm holding him.
I'm telling him go home. Show up today, play, participate, or you're done. I'm making the ultimatum now. I'm not waiting to see. Like they asked Coach Silas today, where's James? He's like, I don't know. Bro, what does that look like? I don't care if you want to be coach. What does that look like, dude?
Well, dude, he should know because we all know because he posted on his Instagram he's a little baby's birthday party in Atlanta. Well, you know what I'm saying? That's where he's at. He's just partying. But yeah, that's a crazy thing to me. It's like, as an organization, I would do the same thing. Look, we have you for 2 years. You don't want to play. You don't want to play. And then what I do, I would fine him heavily. I'd figure out how can I
out of his ass.
I do the maximum fine. Fine the shit out of his ass. We're paying you $40 million. I mean, we're not going to get $40 million back, but I'm going to fine you as much.
And then on the flip side of that, if he wants to come back, okay, fine, I'll come back. I'll play every game. I still don't want to be here. That's great too. You can help us win games and get better, and that'll help your value stay up, so we can get more for you. And you can go, everyone can win in a scenario. So
because also
Rockets, I'm putting the ball in my court right now. I'm
100%
on the organization no more.
Of course, because you just gave away your entire future because of this dude. This dude begged you to get rid of Chris Paul, so you gave up four draft picks to get rid of Chris Paul and bring in Westbrook. Then he doesn't want Westbrook, so now you have to give up Westbrook.
And what's funny is another dark horse scenario they're saying for James Harden, because let's say the Brooklyn, they're like, you know what, we're solid, we don't need that, or Philly's like, we like what we have here, we think we can make these two guys work. New York
Golden
and
State.
Oklahoma. New York.
I heard about Golden.
Golden State was last week, but they're all over the place. You hear Golden State talking about Giannis, you hear them talking about everybody, but they're talking about New York because they have the most salary cap. And they have a ton of draft picks. And then OKC because they have the most top one draft picks over the next 3 years. So
but if you're James Harden, why would you want to go there?
He wouldn't want to go there, but it's going to come down to what can that's why I'm saying Rockets have the ball in their court because it's going to come down to we're not going to just trade you anywhere. We're going to trade you.
We're not just going to give you where you want to go if we get nothing in return. But he did this to himself. You hurt your chance of going to. You hurt your chance of going to Brooklyn because you announced it, and now Brooklyn doesn't want to give us anything for you. So we're not going to make that trade. Like and I love it. She had to ask Kevin Durant about it today. Kevin Durant was like, I don't know about James Harden. He's not on my team. And I don't even think
He gave the best.
those guys don't want
He
to.
gave the best answer.
Yeah.
He gave
This
the
is a
best
perfect
answer.
answer. Yeah. And like I said, I don't just don't. If you're gonna ask me, I think James Harden would make. I personally believe him going there and taking away all their depth, that team would be worse off. Yeah, they'd have 3 superstars, but they have no depth. You need depth in the playoffs. We see it every year. When you get deep in the playoffs, you need guys off the bench to step up because you might have little injuries. You might get in foul trouble. You can't just have 3 guys in the court and pretend you're going to win a title that way. I mean, it's just unrealistic. So, yeah, I think he's being very childish. I hope that he comes back because I honestly want to see him play. Who doesn't love to watch James Harden play? I'm excited for NBA season. I want to see how he can do with this team. I mean, if DeMarcus Cousins comes back semi-healthy and John Wall looks okay, and you have Christian Wood now, that team can make some noise. I mean, they're obviously still have the Lakers and the Clippers that are going to be, Denver, but they can be up there. They can still be up there in the West. It's still a playoff team if James Harden plays his game. I do think that the trade I saw that was very interesting was Wiggins, what's his name, Wiseman, and oh boy that they just signed from Phoenix, what's his name, Aubrey for Harden. That'd be an interesting trade for both teams because now you have Steph, Draymond, and Harden, and you kind of try to replace him for Clay almost and try to run it back that way. And then, but for Houston, you get Wiggins, who's just a good defense, whatever. He's a good role player. But then you get Wiseman, who's a future, who might be a talent down the road, as well as Oubre. Is that his name? I think I'm saying his name.
Oubre,
right.
yeah.
That'd be an interesting trade. Yeah, that'd be an interesting trade.
I mean, chemistry-wise, him going there would make the most sense. Kind of like Giannis, when they talk about Giannis going different places. He's kind of like a James Harden, where it's like he has to be in the right system that fits him with other superstars.
He has to have the ball in his hand.
Yeah, and like Giannis in LA, for example, I don't see that. Would it be a dominating team? Sure. But chemistry-wise, it wouldn't make sense as much as a Giannis in where are they? Oakland or San Francisco now? In San Francisco.
They're in San Francisco now.
Yeah. Would be to me, that would be much more unstoppable.
Well, because
James Harden, Golden State, to me, would be the best.
Yeah. Well, because Steph Curry is the most unselfish superstar in the NBA. I mean, that's what it is. Steph Curry does not care about the ball in his hand. He doesn't care about the MVPs or the shine. He's honestly the most unselfish. He brought in Durant with open arms and said, "You're the guy. Here's the ball. Do your thing." And so I think anybody can come down to go to Golden State, go down there in San Francisco in the Bay Area or whatever, and then anybody can play well there because Draymond doesn't need the ball in his hands. He trails. He plays defense, and then Steph, who really is, like I said, is the most unselfish superstar in the league probably. He doesn't need all that. And yeah, for Giannis needs to be somewhere where he can have the ball in his hand because he's not a post-up player. He's not a shooter, so he can't catch and shoot. He needs to be the guy that does his Euro step that attacks the hoop and maybe kicks it out to other shooters. That's
my other place for Giannis. I'd love to see him would be in Dallas, man, with Luka.
Yeah, that'd be awesome,
dude. That'd be my gosh, bro.
That'd be unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's where I saw it. That him, and because of his age, he's still young, and you have Luka, and you have Porzingis, who's still young, and you'd have that's 3 foreign players, and we know that Mark Cuban loves his foreign players.
Yes, bro.
So.
And they're
that'd be a stupid squad.
They can all play like 3-4 different positions. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would epitomize positionless basketball. They can all bring the ball up the court. I mean, I don't know that. Like I said,
they could go on a run.
Thing going on. So that would be scary, man. That would be very scary. They have Minerovic. He's one of my favorite players. He's 7'5". I mean, these dudes can pass, can shoot.
Dude,
26 points last year.
Watch out for that team this year. I think that Dallas team is gonna be a problem this year. I mean, like they were a problem in the playoffs. They gave Clippers a run for their money in the playoffs.
They should have beat the Clippers. After I saw what I saw them in the next round, they should have beat them.
And Porzingis was out with an injury. Imagine Porzingis is healthy. Hopefully he gets healthy. He's always had these lingering injuries. Hopefully he's gotten healthy and can go back 100%. But if your Porzingis is healthy and Luka's going to do what Luka does, I mean, that is a legitimate contender. I mean, the Lakers got better, though. I think the Lakers are probably the winner. What do you think? Who the winners? I think that's what we should go into. Who the winners and losers of this?
I really like. it's just one player, but I really like Serge Ibaka going to the Clippers.
Clippers.
I
Me
wasn't
too.
huge on Mark Gasol. I mean, he's kind of past his like best days.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a high IQ guy, but do I really think he's going to move the meter much? I don't know. I
I
like
think they got him to
Minnesota.
stop the Joker. I think he's a perfect guy in the playoffs if you play Denver to
Okay,
kind of guard the Joker because
that's
they didn't have that guy to guard a big body. And he's like a perfect with his IQ on defense. I think him lining up with the Joker would be perfect. I think that's pretty much what they got him for. But I like Wes Matthews. You know, they picked up
I
Wes
like Wes
Matthews. So I think
Matthews.
but what's interesting to me is Schroeder said he wants to start. I'm like, what, are you going to start over LeBron at point guard? I mean, LeBron's running that point. I don't think Schroeder started. I think Schroeder needs to play like the Lou Williams role and just get buckets off the bench. Be the sixth man, come in off the bench and
It
get
depends how
buckets.
they run it. Maybe like I heard somebody say on the media, maybe they told him something or told his agent something, or LeBron or Pelinka said something to him before he came in that we don't know. They could have told him, "Hey, LeBron's going to run the 4, AD's going to run the 5. We'll have you been our point, and then we'll run LeBron like as a stretch 4 from time to." I mean,
Yeah,
we don't.
maybe.
There's a reason why he would say something so
Yeah.
asinine, you know.
But I firmly believe that the team would be better with him coming off the bench. Not that he's not good enough to
I agree.
start. I just think having that guy. I mean, he can play as many minutes as any starter. But I'm just saying, I think if you bring him off the bench and play that like that Lou Will role where he comes in and gets buckets like the Jason Terry used to do, you know, or Jamal Crawford off the bench type of guy, Manu Ginobili off the bench type of guy where he comes in and he gets
I
his
mean, the
18
dude
points a
averaged what
game.
17 last year, like 17
Yeah,
and 8. He's a solid
yeah,
kid for his career.
he's a
He's right
solid player.
around that same average. Solid
I'm
guy.
just saying that because I don't think the Lakers have much firepower off the bench. And I think having that jolt to come in and, once you want to go into a small lineup would be pretty interesting. I do love Ibaka to the Clippers. You brought that up earlier because, first of all, I think they need a guy like that to kind of loosen up that locker room. He's a fun guy, and he's the guy that brings out the best in Kawhi. I think he has that YouTube channel where he does like the cooking show or something. It's
Yeah, he's
pretty
a
hilarious.
joker.
Ibaka.
Yeah, he's a chef. Great,
Yeah,
funny
yeah.
guy. And he's
So
somewhat
he
of
brought Kawhi in that show, and it's like that's the most I've ever seen Kawhi like interact on the in the internet ever. So Kawhi went on that show like when he was with the Raptors still, and I was like, oh, Ibaka knew how to open up that side of Kawhi. I think that's going to help with their the communicating with each other. And Harrell just fell apart in the bubble. I mean, his stock plummeted. He
who
was
was that?
Harrell, who
Oh
they
yeah,
who fell
Montrell.
into the
I mean,
Lakers.
why do you think it plummeted? Because of what
He
happened?
just didn't play well. He couldn't play any defense in the bubble. He didn't score in the bubble. He couldn't rebound. It just seemed like that bubble just hurt him on his
Because he
stock
had
a
a
lot.
great year. He had a
Great year, sixth man of the year.
It was the
Sixth man of the
playoffs. It was the bubble where
yeah.
I
He
mean,
didn't have it. Now I'm not gonna put that against him because maybe it's just off year or off portion of the year because
playoffs.
he was
Yeah,
sixth man of the year. Um, it is going to be, but he went to LA across the street, but he didn't even get that much money. Nobody was trying to pay him more than $15 million. I thought he was going to get cash in once he got sixth man of the year. He's young, but he
it's how he
so that's
left
going
the
to be
Clippers, man. It's how he left the Clippers. They weren't on great terms. They actually pushed him out the door, from what I'm understanding. They kind of pushed him away,
yeah.
and
Well,
then not
I
to
guess he was
mention,
an issue in the locker room and stuff. And
right.
Ibaka's going to be that guy that's going to. I think Ibaka was huge. Like I said, I think the Clippers are the most talented team on paper. It's just going to come down to can Paul George and Kawhi Leonard stop with this sitting out and not taking this shit seriously.
They're
You know
gonna
what I
have
mean?
to.
Like,
What do you think about Paul George's comments over the last week, especially the ones
oh
towards?
yeah, about Doc
And I
Rivers.
know how much you hate Doc, but I mean, I got
Uh,
to ask you. I mean, how much can we really put on? Because even like
I
Paul George was talking about pin downs, and he wanted me to play me like Ray Allen. They actually had some sport analytics guys go and run the
that
percentage.
he had more catch and shoot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was wrong. It was complete. They
he
were
was
like,
wrong.
what you're saying doesn't add up to what the stats
The
shows.
stats say. Yeah, I saw that too.
You
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
So
So
I think he's just copying out. Look, at the end of the day, Paul George, you're supposed to be this great. You are a great player. You can't average 10 points a game. Like at some point, I don't give a shit where they put you. If you consider him a perennial All Star and a future Hall of Famer, you can't be
oh,
averaging 10 points a game. I don't give a fuck
bro,
where you're at.
his shot, it
Dude,
wasn't. He wasn't like missing, dude. The dude was hitting the backboard.
backboard, the side of the backboard.
The dude
So
was airballing.
I love when people talk shit about Doc Rivers. I can't stand Doc Rivers. But in that situation, I was like, dude, he's so wrong. because I was looking at it, I went back. I was like, maybe I'm tripping. I went back and looked at his numbers. They were horrific. I mean, he was like 20% on the 3-point line. I mean, he wasn't playing any defense. I mean, there's nothing that he was doing okay. And at some point, you have to put on yourself. It's Doc Rivers didn't tell you to hit the side of the backboard, bro. That was on you. You hit the side of the backboard. You were shooting 20% from the field. So you can't. I get. It'd be one thing if you had good field goal percentage numbers, but you weren't getting any shots. Like you weren't getting open. You weren't getting shots.
The way he talks and acts and the things he says to the media, you can tell he's not surrounded by people that hold him accountable.
Yeah.
If he really
he's very well spoken, he's very well spoken, but yeah, he's very well spoken. He talks like an ambassador. He's very well spoken, very well. But then when he's talking, you can like there's nobody there. Like he doesn't look in the mirror.
No.
Like, at some point, you got to be like, dude. I remember when LeBron had that horrific series against Dallas. Remember in the finals?
2011.
He's still getting shit for that. He's still getting attacked for that. But you compare those numbers to what Paul George did in the playoffs; those are even better. I mean, and if you're gonna put yourself on a pedestal as being one of the top players, you cannot have series like that. You cannot have a couple games like that. I mean, same thing with Kawhi Leonard needs to look in the mirror too, because Game 6 and Game 7, he was absolutely horrific. He had 11 points and like 4 points. Do
you think like he was just, and not make an excuse? Do you think he was tired? Because from so much carrying, I mean, he carried that team. They had some hot moments from different guys, but overall, Kawhi carried that team, man. They looked like a one-man show.
I don't give a damn what you carry, what you're not carrying. You're Kawhi Leonard. You shouldn't average 8 points a game in your last 2 games. Like look, there's no at some point you can't have an excuse. I get if you lose the game, but you get 20 or you get, but it's not even that. I'll get even if you miss shots, but he wasn't even taking shots. I mean, they just rolled the ball out on the court and said, "Fuck this." Like they're gonna be given the game. I mean, Denver's a great team. Don't get me wrong. Denver's a great organization, great team. I like the Joker. I like what Murray was doing in the playoffs. But come on, you want to be compared to LeBron, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. You want to be an all-star. You guys were not even the top 2 players in that series. Neither of you. The Joker and Murray were better than both Kawhi and Paul George in that series. So you're not going to win a game where your best players aren't the best players in the court. Like LeBron James and Anthony Davis were the best players on the court throughout the NBA playoffs. Every single series are the best. That's why they win a title. You know what I mean? Giannis was not the best player. Jimmy Butler was playing better than Giannis in the Miami series, and that's why Miami ends up winning. If you're a star player and you think that you're supposed to win a title, show up. I mean, there's no excuse. On that side, there's no excuse. And I hate Doc Rivers, and I do like what Philly's been doing with their trades and putting shooters around Embiid and Simmons. I think
they're doing great. They got Seth Curry. I mean, they picked up some solid dudes, man. That's why they're not in a hurry to get Harden, because if you go trade away, let's say a Ben Simmons, I think Embiid is impossible. You're not moving him. Let's say they trade away a Ben Simmons, then it's like you're reconstructing a whole new team together. You know what I'm saying? That you've already invested in building. I personally wouldn't go after James Harden, man. I really wouldn't. If I was unless, again, not yet. If this is January, February, we're not where we thought we were going to be. It doesn't look like we're projected going to be title contenders. Let's make that move to make a big spark to say, hey, we're right back there again.
I mean,
today, if I'm Philly or Brooklyn, I'm not making a move for Harden, man. I'm really not.
Yeah, I mean the teams that I see going for him that I think we should come back to that would be that's like the Knicks or something who just need a jolt. Who need a jolt in their organization. And and you know what? I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be fun to have the Brooklyn versus New York Knicks situation with having a guy like Harden go against Durant. I think that'd be a fun little situation.
The only thing hard about that is Harden next move wants to be on a title contender. And in his contract, he has the clause. Kawhi didn't have this clause where he can pick
the no trade
choice. Yeah,
the no trade.
That's why we sent his ass to Canada. James Harden has that choice.
That's why we sent his ass to Canada. They said we're not even having this damn country, bro.
Huh?
No, we're not even gonna keep you in this country.
No,
bro.
we're not keeping the country. James Harden has that choice. That's why if I'm Houston, I'm like, look, how bad do you want out? You can either go home, sit at home, and your value's going to
or we trade what we want to trade.
Suit up and play with us. Whether you want to end up staying or still leaving, what do you want to do? Because, at the end of the day, it's your choice where you want to go, but we got to give the okay to even do so. So you can stay here, rot miserably, or
Yeah.
you
We're
can
not.
play.
Yeah, because at this point, there's no value. If you're not getting anything back for him, you might as well just pay him that $40 million and say screw it. You know what I mean? And just
Cut
keep
your
him
losses.
moping around. Yeah. What else? We're gonna jump on something else here. Where do you want to move into next?
I did want
I
to
mean,
ask you. I mean, you're in all the reports because we were talking about Kawhi. What do you think
Yeah.
about? They're saying stuff like a lot of players are saying he'd take 2 hours. He'd lived in San Diego. He'd fly to New LA for road trips or game days. There would be times where the team plane might be 30 minutes, an hour late, waiting on Kawhi to arrive. He
That can't happen.
45 minutes of locker room time to himself.
What the hell
Before
are you doing, dude?
There
That
was a
needs to
few
stop.
more, man. There was a few more. And I was just like mind blowing.
Dude, I was reading about that and I was dying laughing at the 45 minutes by yourself. I just imagine him saying, "Everybody leave, start the timer." Like, what? See, what if I forgot my Gatorade or something inside?
And the
Like
only thing that makes me think
knocking.
of
Hey, what do you do? Do you text him? Hey, Kawhi, can I please go in there? And can
the
I? Hey, can I
only-
please go in and grab my headphones real quick? I forgot my headphones, Kawhi. Like, what? This is so weird. Like, dude, it's not like we already knew that he's a recluse in a way. Like he doesn't.
right?
This is why I think Ibaka. This is why I think Ibaka is so important for this locker room. I think Ibaka can take that awkwardness and kind of break it up, and I think he's going to be a great centerpiece of holding. Like, nah, man, fuck your 45 minutes. I'm gonna be in here bullshit. And he's like the type of guy where you're like, all right, because he's like the fun guy. And yeah, I read that report. Now it was my.
But here's my thing on that. He must have gotten it from somewhere. That's the reason why I'm like, it sounds wild because it's with other accusations.
Well, Tom Brady had his own
first
office.
guy in the NBA that has ever said,
No,
I want an hour to myself. I remember watching a documentary, and I remember seeing Jordan in the locker room completely by himself, and the whole team was. I remember thinking to myself, "Damn, where's everybody? How do you just hang out in the locker room and no one's coming in and out?"
yeah,
And
no. I bet you other players do it. But I mean, 45 minutes just seemed excessive. I get like a 10 minutes to think to yourself or something. Okay,
right.
But also Kawhi Leonard is not Michael Jordan. Tom Brady had his own office at Gillette Stadium and his own workout area in the parking lot. So Tom Brady had his own office.
When he played for the Jets, he had his own office. They said he's the only player in
you're talking about Brett Favre?
Office.
You're talking about Brett Favre?
Brett Favre?
Yeah. He had his own office. Yeah, overlooking the stadium. So this stuff happens. This stuff happens, and players do get some stuff. But I just don't understand. Like, first of all, if your game is, let's say, at 7:00, you get there people are shooting around. 45 minutes is a long ass time. I just thought I remember finding that so bizarre. And then on top of that, he takes off half the season. He doesn't play. I think
Tyronn Lue's
gonna
over.
get it.
Like, dude, your injury's gone.
That's
like,
over.
you need to fucking play.
Dude, for real.
Especially if you don't lay eggs in the playoffs like you did.
Yeah.
You fucking play.
You need to play because that's how you build chemistry as a team. You can't build chemistry but when you're not playing. Like, that's the whole team together played maybe like 20 games last year. Either Paul George is sitting out, or Kawhi's sitting out, or Lou Will is going to get chicken wings at the strip club. It's like all this shit. It's like, bro, this is why y'all lost. And I think Tyronn Lue, hopefully, I don't know if Tyronn Lue's a good coach because honestly, I think he's a product of LeBron James.
Right, that's it. He's a manager.
But he is a player's coach to where like he's close to their age and he's a good communicator. So I think with him and Ibaka being there, I think that's gonna help like throw all that shit out. Like, no, we're playing every day, we're showing up, we're good. If you need to sit out a couple games on these doubleheaders once in a while, I get it. But when you're sitting out 10 games, 15 games, 20 games a season, it's like, dude, you got at some point you got to stop doing that.
Well, the NBA is
I think
$100,000 a pop. I read it today. They're doing $100,000 for every sit out that isn't injury or COVID related. $100,000.
But dude, these guys are making like $400,000 a game. So cool, I'm still making $300,000.
I think it's going against the team.
Against the team.
Yeah, I think it's going. I will go back and reread it. But
well, my thing is like, imagine. Well, we don't have fans right now, so that's the one thing that's good for them. But like, I remember like going to like basketball games, And when I would read like my favorite player is questionable, like if I'm going down to Portland, and I remember Kobe was like questionable like his last year there, and I was like, God damn, if he doesn't play, I'll be pissed. And then when I flew to LA for his last 3 games, I remember like questionable. I'm like, dude, I want to see him. Like, so like imagine fans when they go out to see these superstars and your superstars sitting out half the goddamn season.
Well,
You know,
and that's
a lot of people can't. A lot of people can't afford, 25 games a year. Some people, that's once a year is all they can afford to go to a game. That's most people. These tickets are expensive nowadays. And now, even if they're going to start allowing fans back in, it's not going to be the full stadium. It's going to be like a quarter of the stadium, right? So a quarter
they're
of the
probably
gym.
gonna have vaccines to get in, from what I'm hearing. I'm hearing to fly. I know it's another subject, but to fly and to go get into sporting events, collegiate up.
Fuck that, bro.
You're gonna have to have a vaccine for it.
Fuck that.
I know.
I'm not.
They
I'm not
read
getting
the
no vaccine.
reports. They said like only 50% of people, like 53% of people said they would take a vaccine. And I'm like, I think even those numbers were skewed. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
All right, how about this? Everybody wants to take one, take one. People that don't, I'm good. I'll sign the waiver.
Bro,
It's
the one by Moderna, the one they're doing, has already killed 2 people, bro. It's in trials. It's already killed 2 people. And it's already a fact.
I read about that. And it says that you get sick no matter what.
Huh?
You get sick off of it no matter what.
Yeah, you get sick no
you
matter
get
what.
sick.
And it alters your DNA. They said the vaccine is DNA altering. Why the fuck would I want that?
Yeah, especially for a virus that seems to be growing and it evolves. There's many different strands of it. That vaccine is only going to cover one strand, from what I'm understanding, and another strand. Just like people with the flu shot get the flu every year. It doesn't stop you from getting the flu. I mean, you just might get it. There's a smaller chance to get it. There's all these other different strands. Yeah, it's just a mess of a situation. And I'm looking at sports right now in general. Like, dude, there's something about LeBron was on that podcast with Richard Jefferson. He was talking about how, it kind of sucks coming out to the huddle. There's no fans. You don't get that energy. And not only as his fans are I miss seeing the crowd go crazy after a jump shot, I truly do miss. I think the NBA did a good job with the whole bubble situation with the screens, but I do miss that aspect of seeing somebody hit a three and seeing the crowd behind them, even watching it from TV. Like, sports need fans, especially like football. We're watching football right now, and like big thing in Seattle, like our 12th man is huge, right? And those home games, you don't get the same advantage anymore because goddamn, you hear the guy on the TV yelling his audible, So it's. At some point, that needs to change.
What do you think about the Des? I don't know. Did you hear about the Des Bryant situation?
Yeah, that should piss me off,
bro. Like,
I was so excited to see him play.
How does this work? The dude was hanging around with his teammates and Cowboys players before the game?
He was high fiving them. Why can't you just play?
High fiving, hand dapping, hugging. How does no one else on the team get COVID? And on top of that, Lamar Jackson, everybody's like, he said after the game, I still can't taste or smell. So people are like, so does that mean you still have COVID? Or at least
that's what I'm saying.
Like, this shit is mind-blowing. But just going back to Dak, I'm like, how you mean to tell me one person, he's around all these people, but COVID was like, nope, we gonna stay here. We ain't fucking, nope, we gonna have this.
And why are they doing this test 5 minutes before the game? Like, wait, you could do a test like 8 a.m. or something, like really early. So
well, they did 2 tests on him earlier in the day before that test before the game. Both tests came back. What's that word?
Inconclusive or whatever.
Inconclusive or whatever. Yeah, both tests. Yeah. And apparently,
what the fuck does that even mean? What do you mean? Your test doesn't work? What does that mean?
NFL has a rule that if the second test comes back inconclusive, you're automatically considered positive for COVID. So what people are upset about is they're like, the NFL should have cut Dez earlier in the morning and told him you couldn't play. So everybody's mad at the Ravens right now. They're like, you got 2 inconclusives. You still let him get all the way to pre-warm-ups because he was in warm-ups. He was in the
he was saying what's up to all his Cowboys teammates.
Yeah,
all
so
his old teammates.
You let him get to there. You give him a third one, and then finally that one comes up positive, and you sit him.
It's a giant mess. It's just such a mess. I mean, this is the thing that, and look, if he's dapping him up, whatever. I just wish like they should do it early in the morning. I don't understand how you're doing a third test minutes before the game at all. Like, you should do these 3 tests early in the day, like start at 6 a.m., maybe one at noon, maybe one at 2. You don't do one time of the game. I just don't understand how that works.
Well, they do.
And
That's what I'm saying. Dez had already had 2 tests earlier that day. They give him a total of 2 to 3 during the day. The 2 are protocols. Apparently, the third one was kind of like a random shit. They randomly picked out Dez. That's why people were making jokes about, oh, it's a conspiracy. Jerry Jones just messing with Dez. He didn't want him to play, which is silly. But the fact that that's why Dez went to Twitter fingers all upset because he was like, why?
Yeah, I'd be upset too. Man, that poor guy can't catch a break.
Yeah,
poor guy can't catch a break.
And I love that.
He got back in. Yeah, I love this, Brian.
He got
back, had his Achilles, got his Achilles effed up. The moment he gets back from his Achilles, now it's COVID. It's like, dude, can the guy just get on the field and play? Even if he's not going to be that as good, which he's not going to be as good as he used to be. I just want to see the guy get out there and play the game because I used to love the dude as a receiver.
Man, I love his heart.
He can't catch a break.
Enthusiasm. He reminds me of Russell Westbrook. The only thing about Dez, the reason why he never evolved, he never learned to run routes well. He was never the fastest guy. He was just a one-on-one guy. He was a 50-50 ball type.
Yeah, he's like a power. He kind of box you out, push you out the ways.
Yeah, and that's what Tony Romo liked. Tony Romo would throw those, all right, Dez, go up and get it. When Dak got to town, Dak was much more conservative. He wouldn't throw up the go-get-its, the fucking Hail Marys, I call them the lottery, the jackpot balls.
Yeah.
Dak didn't play like that. It's more run, chip it away, a little here, a little there. Now let's talk about your Seahawks, man. What's up with
hold up. Before we're gonna touch base on the Seahawks in a second. Before we jump there, I want to ask you on the Cowboys. What do you think about Jerry Jones talking about Dak, about him not running or whatever the hell? What was his comment? You see that comment that he said?
I actually listened to him and I listened to his son's podcast today and yesterday, the full podcast. It was almost like, so are you saying it's Dak's fault for being mobile, why he got hurt?
Yeah.
He also said something about your boy in that podcast. He was like, that boy in Seattle, which I'm so happy they didn't try to make a big deal about Jerry calling him a boy. I really am. I haven't seen
my God.
I haven't seen
it. Max Kellerman tried to come out and make this racial that he said, well, you know why they say things like that about mobile quarterbacks because you know which quarterbacks are mobile. I was like, wait, what you're saying is racist. Basically, you're saying only black people are running. So Max Kellerman tried to call him racist. And then he said, well, you know what kind of quarterbacks they refer to as mobile. I was like, wait, so you're referring to basically mobile quarterback because that's what you're referring to by saying it's racist. Like, it's so funny you try to make somebody look racist, and what he said was kind of racist in a sense.
Jerry Jones isn't in love with Dak. And it's tough. And it's tough because if you look at the stats over the last couple of years, Dak has all the numbers. He has top three, top
Do you think
five
it's because he broke up his love with Tony Romo and he's still not over that? Do you think it's maybe because Dak took Tony Romo's spot?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm going to get you.
He still can't get over that?
Jerry Jones' decision. A lot of that was Jason Garrett. But Jerry Jones' hands were tied because they had just come off of a horrible season. You know what I'm saying? And then the year before that, they had that missed catch in Green Bay. So it was just it was all a tough. And then Dak.
It's almost.
Dak was on fire.
He's almost looking at it. That's what I have a feeling like Jerry Jones is looking at Dak as the guy that took away his son. Like his prodigal son, Tony Romo, and he's like, this is the guy that took his job, and he's still mad at him about it, even though the guy's playing great. It's kind of funny, but Jerry Jones is that kind of guy. But I love a personality like him. I just don't know personalities.
I just don't know if I can pay Dak, even at this point. I wish Dak would have took his money. I wish Jerry Jones would have signed him longer 2 years ago, or I wish Dak wouldn't have bet on himself, which I respect. I wish he wouldn't have bet on himself and took the money because actually now, because the NFL is getting ready to go through another agreement and because of this COVID, they're about to restructure everything. There's a huge chance Dak is going to get even less than what he was before, just
100%.
Structure everything, bro.
His revenue's way down. I mean,
the revenue's way down, and you see everything that's going on between the NBA and the NFL. These owners are gonna get back. They're about to restructure everything, dog. You see what James Harden doing, not going back and forth.
The James Harden shit. The owners are gonna use that as on their first page of their PowerPoint when they sit there with the CBA agreement. They're gonna have James Harden's face as
horrible, dog.
James Harden is fucking it up for everybody in the league.
Yeah,
James Harden's fucking up for everybody.
If I'm Chris Paul, which I'm sure you don't like James Harden anyways, but if I'm Chris Paul, if I'm one of them dudes on the
LeBron,
on the CB, is LeBron on the CBA board?
Oh, he's on the CBA, but he still has the voice. He speaks for the players.
Oh, gotcha. No, I'm talking about the dudes that sit on the board. Because I know CB3 is the president.
Yeah, CB3 is the president.
Derek Fisher used to be, but I forgot the other little young player that's a part of it. I forgot, but he's like the if I'm any of them dudes, I'm salty with James. I'm like, dog, you're making our this is supposed to be a players' league, and you're making us look horrible.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The coach said, look, I mean, they're gonna come down on them hard, and I guarantee the owners love what James Harden's doing because they're gonna use this. They love it. They secretly love it because they're like, hey, listen, we're gonna take this and we're gonna use this in our negotiations, and because look, but I feel to go. I don't want to we're hopping all over the place, kind of, but it is what it is. Right. But when you're looking at it, some of these teams are like in the small markets are giving away their entire futures, 5 draft picks, 4 draft picks, and you give everything away, and then a player says, "Well, I want to leave now." It's like, dude, we just gave everything away for you. We gave our entire future away for you to be here, and now you're just going to do us like that. So there is an argument from the owner standpoint, like, look, we keep giving these guys, we give everything away for somebody just for them to just not fulfill their end of the deal, their contract, and there's a very good argument for that.
No, there's a solid argument, but no. Let's talk about. No, I end up talking about Jerry Jones and Dak. I just feel like I almost feel more sorry for Jerry now. I'm not saying I feel sorry for Jerry, but he is in a precarious situation. It's because all that's going to end up happening is he's going to franchise tag Dak again. Dak might get franchised for the next couple of years for all we know. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you look at
but if he plays well, he plays well. The franchise tag is not a bad number. I mean, you get 30-some million. You whatever.
Well, I think this one would have been like. I thought it was going to be over. I thought it was going to be like 45 million for 1 year.
Yeah, I think you get the max for a year. Like, I mean, it's not a bad deal if you keep playing. But the Cowboys have a lot of things to fix.
That's what I was going to get to. Yeah. Bro, that's a lot of money to give to a guy. Now, put it all on him, but that's a lot of money to give to a guy that was 6-11 his last 17 starts. 6-11? Yeah. Okay, our defense hasn't been great, but we got down 31-3 in the first half. You're down 20, 25 points in the first half of most of our games.
You got to score.
Where's the offense? Why are we not getting going until the end of the third quarter, until the last 10 minutes of the game, and then we're making these big runs, Dak's throwing all these empty calories, and we still lose? Where was this in the first half? So if I'm Jerry Jones, man, I'm really sitting back thinking about it like I have.
And I'm looking at Mike. Well, look at Mike McCarthy. Like, what do you think about Mike McCarthy's job? Like,
I have an aging offensive line that's regressing, and then I look at my coaching. I look at Mike McCarthy. I'm like, Mike.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy.
Look at your boy you brought in, Mike Nolan. Dude, the last time he had a defensive job was in 2016 with the Atlanta Falcons. They were the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL. Fast forward 2020, you're back in the league with the Cowboys. We're now the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL. So, I mean, it's just some of the decision-making that has been done, by the Cowboys over these last couple of years that, I was listening to Stephen Jones talk on a podcast. They asked them, they're like, in baseball, they have like 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year plans. He's like, of course, I know baseball, football is different. You don't have a pool of 150 guys.
Yeah.
But he was like, do you guys look 3-5 years in advance? And I'm thinking, I was like, man, that's a stupid question. It's a business. Of course, they all look 3 to 5 years in advance. And, of course, Stephen Jones was like, of course, we do this and we do that. But I thought about it. I was like, dude, if you really thought 3-5 years in advance, you wouldn't have gave Zeke the biggest NFL running back contract 2 years before his contract was even over. And you see what he's doing. He's digressing in front of our eyes. If you really
he can't even catch the ball in the open field like he used to. Like, they threw a perfect ball to him last game I was watching. I mean, he's not the player he was. But the thing is, that's the running back position. The running back position in the NFL is becoming it's almost like the fullback position disappeared like 10 years ago. We don't have fullbacks anymore, pretty much. Like back in the day, like back in the 80s and shit, they had fullbacks. The running back position is almost turning into, let's get another receiver back there, a slot. We're going to run a couple times a game, but most of the time we're throwing these passes to these running backs. I need to be able to catch the ball. They're almost like
most
a small
run plays receiver. Come off of RPOs pitches, swings, counters.
Mm-hmm.
You see very few guys run through the tackles like Henry. Now, that's what Zeke is known for, but he doesn't have that leg strength anymore. It's almost like when you watch Zeke run, it's like he's running through water almost. You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, but it's like, was he ever that good, or was that offensive line that great? That's another thing you got to ask yourself. He was playing for arguably the greatest offensive line of all time. Therefore, when he in his best years. So was it him, or was it just the offensive line was so good that he was getting these holes created where he wouldn't get touched for 7 yards no matter what? Like he wasn't getting touched. I will
say this: either way, he's lost quite a bit of quickness. He's lost quite a bit of elusiveness. And really, like I've heard a lot of ex-players say, I've heard a lot of analysts say this. He just doesn't look in shape, man. I mean, he doesn't look in shape. I don't know what his offseason regimen is. I don't know what his routines are outside.
He likes to party, he likes to party. He's probably out kicking it and partying and he got his money, he got his guaranteed money. And I was like, F it. What the thing is, even if you bring him back to, 80% of what he was, I still don't think he's worth that money. I mean, that money needs to go to other places.
No, him, dude, DeMarcus Lawrence has been a huge disappointment. I mean, I'm looking at some of these guys. Amari Cooper's.
DeMarcus Lawrence is the biggest one, too. Yeah, he's a huge.
Yeah, but I mean, between DeMarcus Lawrence and Zeke, I'm like, dude,
y'all. That's like $45 million right there. That's
huh?
like $45 million. That's like $45 million right there. You could get 3 guys in your offensive line for that much money.
In the car business, we call that cheese in the farm, man. He cheesed the farm.
Yeah, so you guys have a lot of issues. I don't even know where to start with you guys for next year. I mean, and now we're looking. Washington and Giants are looking like they're going to be pretty good next year. I mean, they've been looking pretty good these last few games of this. They're both on a little streak. They're running on I think Washington is 4-1 in the last 5, and Giants are 4 straight. They just won 4 straight.
Yeah, and I'm so upset with the Giants right now, dude. Why'd y'all let them win? I mean, come on, dude.
Dude, no. So yeah,
I don't even know what Pete Carroll's doing. I'm not really. I'm going back and I've been watching a lot of stuff on you guys. Dude, he's just completely changed. Even the offensive scheme is just even completely different now, man. Y'all don't even look like the same team, like play calling wise anymore.
So it's crazy. So what I noticed is like early in the year when Carson and all the running backs were out, we were throwing the ball more and our offense was moving. Now we get our running backs back in, and he's like became super conservative again. And I know that Russ had those 3 bad games. He threw a couple picks, but you can't just count the guy out like, okay, we're not going to throw the ball anymore. Because he's still a great quarterback, and we have DK Metcalf, who's there's no reason DK Metcalf shouldn't get at least 6-7 touches a half. Last game, I think he had 3 touches in the first half. I was like, can we target the guy? The guy's a freaking monster.
I think it's his route tree is DK's main problem. Is his route tree. Most of the catches I see DK, and I don't watch as much as you do every single play, but most of the highlights and big plays I see, they're usually big post routes and 9 routes, out routes. Him just go beat your man. It's almost like a Dez Bryant, like how Dez Bryant was used back then. Where I think if he utilized more of the route tree, he probably could get more of those 6 to 7 catches.
I mean, but to look at at us and see that we're 8-4, when half the year we had a terrible defense and we had a great offense. Now it seems like our defense is finally picking it up, but our offense is fucking dying. I'm like, can we just put them together? Because our defense actually been pretty good the last 3-4 weeks. Like starting with the second half of that LA game, going into Arizona, we played well, and we've been playing just well on defense.
I mean, you still have most of your guys. I mean, you got Bobby Wagner out there.
And we know, and now that Dunlap is back, fully healthy, and knows the scheme.
Jamal Adams is back.
He's been out
for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and then Griffin is back now. So our defense is looking good. I just think we need to. I know that Carson's great and we like to run the ball, but we got to let the ball go once in a while. And we've been too conservative on the play calling side, in my opinion, these last couple of weeks. But hey, at the end of the day, we're 8-4. We're in the driver's seat. We have a.
How do you feel about winning that division though? Because you have the Rams breathing down your necks. Right?
Oh, we're tied. We're actually in first place. Because they have the tiebreaker right now.
But that's with you guys kind of been on a down streak, and that's with the Rams been one of the hottest teams in the league right now.
Yeah, I'm expecting us to win out and including beat the Rams. I'm hopeful at least.
The Rams, their only weak, I won't say only, but their weakest link is actually maybe one of their potentially best players on the right day and that's Jared Goff. Because
Yeah.
that team can
Well,
win
Jared
on
Goff-
defense. Jared Goff could be the ones to bring it on the way home.
See, Jared Goff, I noticed when he gets under pressure, he just makes terrible decisions. But when you give him a little bit of time in his pocket, he's an accurate thrower. He's getting it right. But for some reason, when he gets a little bit of pressure, he like gets rattled. And he just makes these stupid throws, and he's terrible under pressure. So if you can pressure him and you just blitz him a little bit more, their defense is obviously amazing. I mean, you have two of the best guys for their position, Ramsey and Donald. I mean, Donald's a freaking animal, and Ramsey's a monster as well. So you have that. You have those two guys in your defensive side. Then they have a bunch of other guys that are stepping up. I think the Rams are a good team, but I still see us winning that division. And it should be interesting. I mean, without injuries in this division, this would definitely be the best division in all of football. I mean, you got Arizona who's looking, they're getting up there. Next year is going to be with everybody come back next year. This division next year, especially, is going to be ridiculous. With the 49ers going to be fully healthy. Arizona's now you're going to have another year under his belt, and all the young guys. This division next year is going to be just absolutely, all four teams can make the playoffs, in my opinion. Like it's going to be a ridiculous division. We're just going to beat each other up and win every non-division
Who
game.
do you have in the Super Bowl at this point? We're pretty much.
Well, hey, I'm going back to my preseason. Remember when we talked on our podcast earlier in the year, and I said I picked the Saints in the beginning, but then I moved off to Green Bay or to Buccaneers. I'm going back to the Saints. I think the Saints are the best team in football, especially if Drew Brees comes back. I want the Seahawks obviously to make it, but I think the Seahawks right now, even if they get everything together, they're probably second or third, because I would have to go Saints and then Green Bay and Seattle if Seattle gets everything together and gets out of the slump. And on the other side, I mean, I just see Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers are anything what the record says. I think to me, if you told me to watch their games and not know the score, I would be like, they're probably got 7 or 8 wins this year. They just don't. They're not. To me, they're not all that.
Well, they have the worst ranked run game in the league. Like it's horrible.
And Roethlisberger, you don't know which Roethlisberger you're gonna get. You get one day he looks great, one day he looks horrible because he's of age, So
yeah, he's older.
I definitely think it's gonna be. I think it's the Chiefs that are gonna come out the AFC, but there's a couple of teams. I think like the Titans are built really well for the playoffs because the run game.
Baltimore, watch out for Baltimore, man.
Yeah,
they're built for the playoffs too.
Look, Bills are a good team. They're built for the playoffs, I think. Baltimore, my thing with Baltimore right now, I think the NFL teams have figured out. I don't know what happened to Lamar's arm, but he can't seem to throw the fucking ball to save his life.
It is a little weird. I mean, he had couple of beautiful throws yesterday. He had that.
But then he had the one where he threw the guy's shoes.
To Hollywood.
He threw the
corner end zone. He had a nice one. They're not even doing the same attempts. So, I mean, he only had 12 completed passes yesterday. I mean, I don't think he has a problem with his arm. I think Greg Roman, it sounds weird to say, is not completely sure how he wants to use Lamar completely. I think they need to open up that playbook a little bit more. I think Lamar has a great arm. I think, he can work on his accuracy a little bit better. But to basically make them all we do is run option team.
You're so predictable.
It gets predictable. And they've been having that problem all year. We've heard Lamar talk about the offense predictability. I mean, the
Browns are looking decent too. I got to say the Browns are looking pretty good this year too.
The Browns are good, dude. The only thing about the Browns, I'm like,
Chubb is a monster.
I just don't trust Baker Mayfield.
I don't at all. That's the thing.
Stacked. They have two.
That team is like, you got Njoku. Njoku's playing his ass off. No, the whole team is great. I mean, yeah, if you get the Baker that we saw the other week, where if you get that Baker that can be completing 80% of his passes, then you have a chance to win it all. I think the AFC is a lot more open. I think you have that one team of the Chiefs. If you catch Chiefs on a bad day, I think the rest of the teams, it's anybody can beat anybody.
And think about Chiefs, they're only winning at least I think it's their road games by average of 3 points. It might be their home game.
Yeah, they lost to the Raiders, and they barely beat the Raiders on like a last. So they beat them on the last drive. Yeah, they've been squeezing by in these games. But it's almost like they play down to their level because it's so easy. Like you look at that team, they're so stacked. It's like when I watch, I get pissed off. When I'm like, dude, this team, Mahomes is just so fucking good, dude. He's so good.
He's a
I mean,
video
not,
game.
dude. He's 99 overall in Madden. 99 overall. That's what I would pick. He's just, dude. The other day he did that pass. He was running to the left. He threw it across his body
Between
to the
like
right.
3 guys.
Between like 3 guys. I was like, what is that? Like, you shouldn't be able to do that. He's tall and it's just, dude. I think they got a bargain for $500 million paying this dude. I mean, I don't
when
care.
you break the numbers down like you did and you do it over time, they totally got a bargain.
They got a bargain on the guy.
Let's say, I'm going to bring it up.
He's so good. It's unreal how good that guy is.
Let's say the Brady and the Bucks make the playoffs. It's wild card weekend. They're in Seattle. Who do you have winning that game?
Seattle. I don't like the Bucks. For some reason I just don't think. You know what? It almost makes me say this. Everybody got on what's his name's case last year for throwing 30 interceptions.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at it like Tom Brady's on his way to throw like 20. And is it maybe that Bruce Arians' system is not very easy and because it seems like a lot of these interceptions just the plays are breaking down. There's some terrible throws he's made here and there, but a lot of it's like the receiver's not where he needs to be, or Tom Brady's thrown in the wrong spot, and it's like, is it just Bruce Arians' system? There's turnover friendly, that made me really wonder. That.
When I'm going back to even like Andrew Luck, for example, Arians drafted Andrew Luck. He was offensive coordinator at the time. Andrew Luck in college and his first couple of years in the NFL was a huge turnover machine, simply because he loved airing it out. When you're a quarterback, you'll just throw it out there. You don't mind lobbing it. You don't mind all the 9 fade routes, the out routes. It's a high chance of interceptions. And in some offenses, that's okay. In Bruce Arians' offense, they call it no risk it, no biscuit. That's all they say. No risk it, no biscuit. With Brady, he wasn't that type of guy. He's always been a nickel and dime, shallow routes, crossing routes, short little picks. He's always been those Edelman, throw it 5 yards, they turn it into 15 or 20. That's been Brady for the last 20.
Yeah, he wasn't a 40 points a game guy.
Yeah, and he's never been a guy, let me step back and air it out 40 yards. That's never been
not his game.
And so half of it is that. Half of it is just simply, it's just horrible play calling. And, you got to put some of that on Arians. But at the same time, you got to put some of that on Brady. It's like, Brady, you went into this offense. You know what I'm saying? You went to this style of team.
Do you think they fire Arians?
Aren't those type of Edelman, Wiseman, those guys, they aren't those type of receivers, Evans and Goodwin and all. They're not those. They're big receivers. They're fast receivers. They like to get out and go. This doesn't work. Now, the types of throws Brady has thrown, man, you look at some of these, I'm like, dude, that looks like shit I do on Madden. Throwing in the coverage of 3, 2 corners and a safety. I mean, throwing it long and you're throwing it into a full coverage with 2 safeties sitting back. I mean, some of these throws Brady has been trying to make. I mean, I think the percentage is past 19 yards. He's like the worst in the NFL.
The worst.
Close, dude.
What's on his game? So, what do you think? Do you think that Brady's gonna, if this doesn't work out and this marriage keeps getting effed up, and let's say they get knocked out in the first round, do you think Arians gets fired and Tom Brady pushes him out? Or do you think they let go?
Unfortunately, I think Arians is out. I think if they don't win the Super Bowl, well, maybe if they get to the Super Bowl and be okay. But I think the minimum they can do is get to the conference championship and lose. Anything less than that, I don't see Brady leaving. I don't see Brady getting shown the door. I believe Bruce Arians is out.
Yeah, I think so too. Because you look at like what has he really accomplished there? He hasn't really accomplished anything there. And now with all this talent, I think I think he's going to be shown the door. So like they need to really make a run. But I don't see them do it. I think the NFC is too stacked. I personally do not see but there's days where they look amazing. They have an insane amount of talent. I mean, Fournette is like their third back at this point. Like that dude should be starting on any other team. It's like they're stacked in every position. Defense, they're great. Well, lately their defense kind of
that down weeks. Suspect, but a lot of it goes back to play calling, man. I don't know what Todd Boyles.
At the beginning of the season, they looked amazing.
Yeah, man. But I look at some of his play calling. Like, for example, who they played the other day? What receiver did they play the other day? It was just lacing them up all game. Who did they play the other day?
Let me see.
It was 1-on-1. Who did the Bucks play the other day? That has an amazing wide receiver. They had him one. They had a rookie.
Wait, you're talking about when they played? I know they played the Chiefs recently.
I think it was the Chiefs then. 1-on-1 with Watkins. He had a rookie corner playing the entire first half and half of the third 1-on-1 with Watkins, dude. It's just some of his play calling just.
Yeah, that's that's gonna be interesting. I mean, I don't even know who's on the market they'd bring in. I mean, as a coach to that system, that would be interesting to see who they go pick up. Yeah, man. But who do you got coming out of the NFC and AFC?
Man, I think the AFC, like you said, is pretty open. If I had a gun to my head, I'd probably say the Chiefs as of today. But I mean, I like Baltimore as a dark horse. I don't necessarily care for how their offense flows from week to week, but I think they're a team that can win out the rest of the year. They got pretty easy 4 games remaining, and I think they can be hot come playoffs. So they're my dark horse, but I think I have Kansas City, and believe it or not, Green Bay. I think this year Aaron Rodgers.
I think Green Bay. I think Aaron Rodgers needs to be looked at as a legit MVP this year. I know everybody's talking about Mahomes.
It's Aaron. Unfortunately, your boy Russell Wilson kind of removed himself from that conversation.
Oh, he did remove himself.
Because it's been him all year. But right now, it's 2 guys: Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, and then if I want to throw in an honorable mention, Derrick
Henry. Henry. I mean, unfortunately, I think running backs. It's like MVP. Unfortunately, has turned into, and it's been for quite some time, the quarterback award. No. You're not winning the MVP unless you're a quarterback. I mean, I don't care. You could have the most ridiculous numbers. I think the last person to have, I think Adrian Peterson or Daniel Tomlinson were the last guy to get a MVP. But you literally have to either get like 2,000 yards a receiver, which is like nobody's done it ever.
What's his name? He still didn't get it. What's his name?
Megatron. Megatron got 1960. He was 40 yards short.
I thought he did a 2,100. He had a 2,100 season.
Did he have the 2,100 season?
Yeah, because they were trying to compare him to when everybody was like DK. They were like, let him know he gets have a 2,100 or something like that. But I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah, but it's turned into a quarterback award, and it's a kind of unfortunate because I think. No, there's the most of all time, Calvin Johnson, 1964.
All right, I'm wrong then.
Julio Jones, number 2 with 1871. Then you got Jerry Rice, Antonio Brown, yada yada yada. But
that never happened.
It's never happened. But I mean, you literally have to get something near that to even be considered anymore. Like, which I think is kind of crazy. I think Henry deserves a nod. If you take Henry away from that team, from that Titans team. I mean, they maybe win 4 or 5 games. They win like 5 games. I mean, he's been, dude, every game it's 150, 170, 150, 170. It's like.
How long do you think he can last? I love him,
dude,
but how long do you think?
Yeah, I do. And
he's a big.
I actually, my favorite position to watch is a dominant running back like that, power back. Like, I love watching 15-yard runs to people.
He's not your average.
Dude, he's a monster, bro. But I was watching like his like there's something on YouTube where like followed him around or whatever. Like his diet, his workout regime is insane. This dude is a freak. How long can he last? Dude, I don't know. I mean, I hope he lasts for a long time, but he hasn't gotten his big payday yet. I mean, he got a decent payday, but a guy like that, I mean, I don't know how much beating your body can take, dude. Dude, he has like 4 guys on him every play.
What works for him though? He's not your average 5'8", 5'9" running back. The dude is 6'3", 6'4".
Dude, he's a fucking mammoth. Dude, this guy is huge.
He's huge,
bro.
Man.
I just love watching him because like he'll get the ball, he'll make his hole. There's no hole there. He'll run through that line and just knock 2 dudes on their ass and. I mean, he's that strong. He's been doing it since
Bama, man. He's been doing that since Bama, dude.
Yeah, it's unbelievable to watch. I mean, I thought Fournette was going to get to his level, but unfortunately, he just never panned out the same way. Because
Wild, man. He just never between
like he had some good moments in Jacksonville, but like this year with the Buccaneers, he's not doing shit. I mean, he's not even their first back.
Dude, they're just too stacked, man. Even their tight end, I forget their tight end's name, but he's a beast. That Bucks,
their whole team, yeah,
it's
unreal, dude. Like that's why I was so confused when Fournette decided to go there. Like I was like, why would you go sign with them when you know they're so stacked? You're not gonna get the touches.
Because his boy. It's Brady. He wanted to be with his boy. That's the only reason, dude.
Yeah, but dude, now they got Antonio Brown. Now they got Antonio Brown there too. It's just such a stupid team. When you look at paper, that team, like in Madden, that is the greatest team of all time. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Damn, like that team is ridiculous on paper. Like, you got receiver on receiver on receiver. You got Antonio Brown now back. You have Fournette as your second or third back. Your offensive line is pretty good. Your defense should be good. It's pretty amazing. So yeah, man. I think that's pretty much touch base on everything, man. And all you guys listening right now, watching, man, go on there, subscribe. It's gonna help us out. And because we're gonna be doing more and more shows. Yeah, click the like button, subscribe button, bell button, and the Apple podcasting as well. If you get on your phone, listen in your car. We're gonna be bringing more and more content, man. Yeah, man, this is fun, man. Let's touch base, by next week for sure.
All right, y'all. Well, that's been another episode of the Capital Report. Again, we switched it up a little bit. Had a little bit of sprinkle of politics in there a little bit.
Yeah.
We went sports, you know what I'm saying, this week. So we're going to keep it going, and we'll see y'all next show. Take care.
Peace out.